subscribe to the Sligo GAA Coaching and Games social channels. Be sure and follow us to stay up to date with all things Sligo GAA. Today we're delighted to be joined by Maria White to continue our Leading Ladies in Sligo GAA series. So welcome Maria, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks Alana, thanks very much for having me. Well done, it's a great initiative what you're doing, it's marvellous altogether, and you're highlighting the work that women do in clubs, which is brilliant.
That's it. So as I said, you're involved obviously in the GAA. So what's your role on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I'm secretary of Ballymote GAA club. So it's, well, the last few weeks has certainly been busy. With COVID and all that, it has been quiet. But for the last few weeks now, day-to-day role now is registering the players, constantly, reminding coaches, reminding players that they need to get the registration process up and running and that. And of course, it's a new system this year. It's a new registration system, and it's just navigating that at the minute. And there's so many webinars going on at the moment, educational ones, and that. So every evening is busy with that. Look, I mean, there's so many admin roles associated with being club secretary, but then being part of a club, fundraising is a huge part of any club, and that's something that everybody has to get behind and roll in, and that usually can take up a nice little bit of time. But at the minute, we're getting ready to return to play, getting our pitch side ready with all the necessary equipment that we need to be compliant, and that's kind of it. Getting ready, going back next week, which is brilliant for the kids and that.
Yeah, I'd say everyone's flat to the mat at the minute trying to get everything ready to go back. So how did you yourselves come to get involved? Was it through Ballymote in the first place, or how did you get into it?
Well, I suppose I always had an interest in football and GAA. I would have played myself in that, and grew up with 4 brothers, so there was no choice but to play, and that was really it. So there was plenty of football being banged around the place. So I played a bit myself then, and I really didn't. It just kind of fell in. Like when you start having children yourself, and your children start going into these clubs and that, you kind of you just take an interest, and it was kind of, there wasn't much thought process behind it. And I think the first year I joined at Ballymote, we set up a Bourne club within the club, a Bourne subcommittee, and that was my first time involved with the GAA committee, and I was children's welfare officer for that year, so I was in that role for a year and a half, and then after that, then the secretary role came up after that. So you just put yourself forward, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of a pattern with a few people I've been talking to, that you just kind of fall into it, and that's the way it goes on from there. So for yourself then, why would you say you do it? Is it to give back, or was it just kind of like you're saying, get involved amongst the board and oak kind of time, or what would it be for yourself?
It's just, I find myself there. There's no thought process. There's no kind of giving back. You just find yourself gravitated towards it. And that's kind of it. You're like, when I started getting involved with the club, I started going to games that my children weren't even playing. I was just going to games because it was something to do for the evening. It was a healthy activity. You were getting out of the house. The children were coming with you. They could view what was going on. So that probably. It's just you gravitate towards it. It's something that's part of who you are. It's part of your makeup. It's you. I was reared with this. I grew up with this. It's second nature to go down to the pitch. That's kind of it's about as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah, second nature is definitely the best way to describe it. So going on from that, then a lot of people would say there's a gap, let's say, between genders in between these positions in the GAA. Would you say that's been your experience, and what would you say is the best way to continue changing that, if so?
Yeah, kind of like, I suppose when I got involved in the club, the treasurer in the club was a female, Pamela Brennan. So she was in the club a lot longer than I had been. So while we mightn't have the quantity of numbers of female committee members, we certainly, the quality is there in that if you look around a lot of the committees, GA committees, a lot of women are in the kind of the more senior roles of the club, secretary, treasurer, chairperson, all that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't feel that there certainly is no inequality. I don't see there is. I think one thing that's stopping women get involved is possibly women themselves. The clubs were, it's an open, it's a fair place to be in. There's great, there's great diversity in that sort of thing, that kind of thing. And of course, seeing is believing. For a young child growing up, when they see women in these roles, that should then, that second nature should apply to them. There's no reason why any woman cannot be in any role in any club. So
yeah, it's that old can't see, can't be kind of mantra that is so important, I suppose. So then, if you could change one thing about the GA going into the future, what would you change?
Um, there's huge kind of financial pressure put on clubs. I think that is kind of a huge struggle on clubs, and you find yourself dealing a lot of the time with the finances of the club, and that sometimes can lead to sort of possibly burnout a little bit with members. You're constantly going back to the same group of people to fundraise from, and that can get exhausting, and you're constantly trying to come up with new ideas and all that kind of thing. So that's the really one of the main things that I'd like to see eased up on clubs. But I suppose coaching then is another big thing. I mean, really and truly, we need more Gaelic promotion officers. The ones we have are excellent. They're overworked as it is, so we just need more. As simple as. And coaching is key, possibly, for the youngsters, and going into primary schools and supporting clubs, and that's key, because our county has to be as good as the next county.
Yeah, the financial implications is definitely an interesting take. I haven't actually come across that thus far, but the GPOs, no doubt, you said it yourself, do exceptional work throughout the county. For you then, what is it that makes Gaelic Games so special, that's kept you involved all these years?
Oh, it's that anticipation that you're going to win. It's that sense of feeling. Anything can happen on any day. Anything is possible. Bring out a group of lads, or girls. When anything can happen, when you get a sort of a belief feeling going within a camp and all that. It's just that you have a panel of players. There's a position for everybody on the team, and players develop at different stages and at different ages. So it's to keep them together. It's to prevent the drop off. That's a huge challenge as well. And because you need every one of them. Like when you're in a club, we're not a big club really with number wise and that. You need every single player that comes in that gate, and that then brings on, when you see a team kind of develop as years go by and all that, and you just see it's a huge sense of achievement when you see them competing with the best.
Yeah, and the camaraderie, I suppose, as well, is unmatched. So that's brilliant. Thanks a million for joining us, Maria, and good luck in your future endeavours.
Thanks, Alana. Very good, and good luck with your role too. Thanks very much.